Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is October 19, 2023, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the U.S. markets sell off as we kick in corporate earning season. Now looking at today's major economic events, nothing scheduled, but looking at the various markets going into from yesterday's corporate earning results, looking at the Forex symbols, pretty much unchanged from day to day. They're really consolidating, and looking at the U.S. markets, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ sold off. Now, when we look at commodities, gold pushes even higher while oil remains unchanged day to day. And as we look at the stocks, it's quite mixed. We saw Tesla tumble while we saw NVIDIA go down and gap down for a second day. And Netflix actually went up in after-hours trading after coming up with corporate earnings. Now, lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin remains unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Euro USD consolidating at the bottom of the move. However, looking at the GBP USD, it is trickling lower. And especially if we look at a daily chart, you can see it quite clearly coming down to that low, whereas the Euro is not as fast, if you want to call it that, but is not trading as softly or as weakly as the British pound versus the dollar. So this may mean if the British pound does pass this 120-ish level on the downside, that may mean that the euro plays catch up to the British pound and sells off versus the dollar. Now looking at commodities, first looking at gold, look at that, pushing higher to 1962 yesterday as it broke this resistance-ish level. However, it's got to sell and close above it of this 1950-ish level for it to really be considered a breakout. So if that does happen, we could go back to our $2,000 level. So keep that in mind. Now looking at crude oil, not doing much, but this morning, okay, as of this morning, it did just debacle here from $86.85 down to $85.72. That's $1 in 1 day of trading, and it's broken that trend line. Okay, it was developing this trend line, so I'd like to see if it does hold above this 30-day moving average, and at that point I would say, okay, maybe it's just selling off and it'll bounce off of it. So this is really a key level, and keep that in mind today as well. Now looking at the U.S. markets, both the Dow Jones sold off from 34,100 over the previous trading day to 33,700-ish level right now, as you can see. Now looking at the NASDAQ, also just tumbling down, forced by some of the big stocks that we know. Okay, so Tesla had a really poor day yesterday as it sold off, and then in after hours kind of guiding lower, so that was a big deal. And looking at NVIDIA, this is where it becomes a little bit more disconcerting. That's a weekly chart, but look at a 4-hour chart. Boom, boom. That's a 2-day consistency of a big gap downs, going from 454 down to 421. That's over $30. That's about $15 each day in gapping down. So not very encouraging, as that has broken the 200-day moving average on a 4-hour chart. But look at what it's doing to our 30-day moving average. It broke both of them in this go. So that is a major development there. Now the U.S. banks also sold off, but looking at Facebook, it sold off as well. So the market's pretty much sold off almost, systemically. Now next week we've got a lot of corporate earnings, and this is all coming in. However, Netflix actually did pretty well in after-hours earnings, actually trading above its price. So that was a light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps, for that. However, you see that it's a mixed atmosphere right now. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, it is trading unchanged, 28,300 level, not doing much. It's gone up, consolidating, and now it's waiting for that next crazy move, either on the upside or the downside. So if you're a day trader or a scalper or someone going in and out, keep this on the radar, but otherwise, it's not really tradable. It's been very choppy and very difficult to trade as well. So focus on the U.S. markets. Philip Morris is coming out with their corporate earnings today, which is not a major corporation. It shouldn't affect high tech. But next week, we've got a lot of major players coming out. So we'll see you here tomorrow on the Daily Review. Have a good day, everybody.